Let me start by sharing 5 important numbers to you. The first number is that there will be about 10 billion people on this planet by 2050. Many of you in this room will probably live for 100 years. You will cross the dawn of 22nd century. You will all have at least 70 productive years in front of you. You will shift your careers at least 5 times. I've shifted mine 4 already. I know friends who are in their 6th and 7th. And the last number is, many of you in this room will probably live on Moon, Mars, besides the Earth. This is not science fiction. This is the echoes from the future staring at you. You are in your mid-teens. I think this phase is a very important phase of your life. And I call this phase as the discovery phase. This phase is very uncertain, very volatile, extremely complex, and very ambiguous. And when I was at that stage, I wish I knew many of the things that I now know now. So in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to share with you 3 stories of my life. And I'll give you some guiding principles. These guiding principles don't change. No matter what AI does, no matter how many changes we see, at the end of the day, these guiding principles remain the same. By the way, I also shared a Google form to all of you, and thanks for responding. And I read many of the answers. Some of them were really hilarious. My favorite one was, "Sir, I don't care about the future, I just have to marry into a rich family." Which is the right attitude. But then, I also read with keen interest all the things that you are saying. You know, this phase is like observing this ocean. You don't know where to start. You know, this famous poem of Constantine Cavafy, which is Ithaca, Lastragonians, Cyclops, and Poseidon. It is very scary. It is very daunting. We don't know what college to choose. We don't know what course to do. You're reading on the social media that people who are doing this course are not getting jobs. Then on the same breath, there will be a video from some influencer that, "Hey, I'm making millions of dollars without doing anything. My money is working on itself." And it's very, very overwhelming. I get it. When I was your age, it was very overwhelming too. But I think this phase just has to be thought in that same process, that it's a discovery phase, it's a journey. You are looking at this vast ocean full of Poseidon, Cyclops, Lastragonians. It is overwhelming, but let me now share with you 3 important stories and 3 important messages. And as I said, that these guiding principles will help you make your choices for this journey, because these guiding principles will then shape your future legacy. So here goes my first story. My first story is from July of 1995. I was in my college, and I chose this college because it was on a beach, the only college in India which is on the beach. So I was there, and I didn't go to the class, and I was lounging in my room. Our hostel had these annas who would come and clean up the wings and clean up the room, and he knocked at my door. And I was lounging, and he looked at me and with a very firm voice said, "Son, get up. This is the time to read and learn." And he said, "Follow me." So he took me to this reading room, which was on the same wing. And inside the reading room, there was another small room, and he had the key. And he opened that door, and inside that room was a treasure trove waiting for me. All the seniors who had come to that college before me had left all their magazines, secret magazines, everything was there. The world of Time, Newsweek, Business India, National Geographic, I even found comics books, Tintin, Asterix, Mad, Amar Chitra Katha, novellas from India, Mexico, Africa, and the whole wide world. I was not much of a reader, but I picked up one magazine which had the largest number of images and little words, and I started to read. And I was hooked. And I started to devour magazines after magazines. I started to read what's happening in the world. The magazines told me that there are banks and airports and houses and everything is connected by computers. And I started to use that in my engineering as well, and it made a lot of sense. I got to know about computers, handheld devices, laptops. I got to know about people making movies. I got to know about travel. I loved it. And this became my window to the world. And I read a lot. In that 1 year, I would have consumed almost every magazine that was there in that little, dark, dingy room. Now, let me tell you why this episode was important for me. In 1996, about a year from that day, Wipro came to campus. I didn't have good marks, but I knew stuff. The interview started. This guy asks me 5 technical questions. I respond all 5 of them wrong. This is like that Three Idiots movie scene, definition kya hai? And I didn't know. So he declared that you're the worst engineer that I've seen in my life, but do you have any questions? And I had a very interesting conversation with him on all the things that I had read. And he got talking to me. He asked me questions about what's my view about future careers, technology, how would the world work? And I talked about internet, how everything will be connected. And it was a very good conversation. And I got my first job just because I was able to communicate my ideas. And I'm not saying that I just spoke. I connected with all the materials that I had read. And this completely shaped my life. My first request to all of you in this room who are looking at this ocean and scared that, oh God, what do we do? What do we choose? What college, what program? My first request is, it doesn't really matter. What matters is the whole episode of learning. It's about learning how to learn. It's about picking up any book that comes to you, any paper that comes to you, and going deeper into it. It's also about picking up a poetry and reading it. It's about picking up musical instrument and learning it. It's about golf and learning it. It's about anything that comes to your way, because what at this age you can do best is learn how to learn. And when you go into the corporate world, I think the first ability that they will check and the world needs is that can you quickly learn and can you do something with it? At that time, nobody will ask you what marks do you have or what college you came from or what program did you have. I think the world will just ask you, can you do this? And if you can quickly learn to think on your feet, apply all the muscles that you have used in the brain and sharpened it, you'll be able to create your legacy better. One of the questions that stood out in the Google form that you responded on was, how do I find this passion and purpose? And my simple request is that I'll answer it using an anecdote that I observed with my 20th reunion batchmates. So in 2017, all of us who studied in that college on the beach met for our 20th year reunion. And we called all the students together to come and talk to us. And they asked these kind of questions. One of the most important questions was, were you clear about your passion when you were our age? And all my 65, 70 people said, we had no clue. In fact, many of them said, we still have no clue. So all of you who are anxious that you need to be so clear that this is the ship I'm going to jump on, this is the path I'm going to move forward, relax. I think the whole concept of the term Ithaca is not about the destination, it's about the journey. So my first request to all of you is, in this discovery phase, discover learning. Learn how to learn. It doesn't matter what you choose. If you look at people who are now at 60, 65, 70, You've heard one of us speaking, and I'm in that age as well, maybe slightly younger. I think the choices we made at that time and what we are doing now, there is very little correlation. These are building blocks. And all of you relax and take any topic that comes to your way, because what's important is not what you have read. What is important is, can you use that and, like a building block, use it in some sort of a problem that can solve someone's problem. So my first message is, learn how to learn. And this becomes a very important milestone for all of you into this world that we are going tomorrow. My second story and my second message is from around 2008. And I'll tell you where this comes from. In 2008, I was in a very successful job. By that time, Wipro had given a pathway to go to Intel. Intel had given pathway to go to Qualcomm. So I was super successful, one of the highest paid people in India. And at that moment of time, I also had a second career, which was teaching. And I wanted to get into teaching. This was probably my passion and purpose. And I was the senior manager. My LinkedIn profile was all over the place. I would flaunt my accolades and all of that. And this was very important because external validation is very important to all of us. So one day, one vice chancellor who I used to visit in a guest lecture mode said that, Rakesh, you can come and become a visiting professor anytime you want. So I was like, wow, this is my exit from corporate into academia. And I called him up and said that, sir, I'm thinking of resigning and I take up your offer as a visiting professor. And I heard a long silence at the other side. And he said that, Rakesh, our academic calendar is right now exhausted. Why don't we revisit this discussion next year? And this hit me very hard. I think 1 year before, when this vice chancellor was talking to me, he was more interested in my title, my Qualcomm, Intel, and IIM Bangalore, and all these great colleges I come from. But when I said I'm going to leave all this, I had no value. And that hit me. And I said that my self-worth is my designation. So on an impulse, I came back, I opened up LinkedIn, and I put, instead of senior manager, I just put nobody. And that has stayed with me even till now. I think all of us work very hard to get external validation. That's why the name of colleges, the name of jobs that we do, the name of peer groups we have is very important. But the day you drop it, and then you become this person who doesn't care about the external validation, I think your legacies will be a lot sharper. In fact, that's the reason I was able to quit the corporate world, do a PhD for just the sheer joy of doing a PhD, wrote books, and started a company called School of Meaningful Experiences, not because of external validation, but because deep inside, I have my self-respect, my self-worth, and my self-belief. So my second message to all of you is, discover yourself. You are not your titles. You are not the names of colleges and programs. You have your self-worth. You have your self-belief. And I think this is very important for you. Because many years from now, if you're still comparing yourself to what others are thinking of you, you'll never be able to find the joy of your career. And you'll never be able to build your legacy. My last story and my last message is from 2024, April 23rd. At about 1:45 in the morning, in the afternoon, my brother from Jodhpur called me up, and I knew something was wrong. And he said two words that changed my life. He said, "Mom's gone." So we took the next flight, did all what we could, the final rites. I was sitting with my dad. Both my mom and dad are teachers, they are medical practitioners, doctors, so is my brother and his wife. And we were all sitting together after we gave mom a fitting farewell. And dad said very delicately, "Son, do you have a class coming up?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, it's 3 days from now, but I don't know what to do." And my dad said, "What would your mom have advised you to do?" I knew the answer. I said, my mom would have said, go to your class, fulfill your commitments. So my dad said, then that's what you should do. Go back, fulfill your commitments. This is one of the most important messages my parents taught me, which I want to share with you. Discover your work ethic. If you have made promises to someone, fulfill them. Show up on time. Fulfill your assignments on time. Make sure you do the work. Make sure you fulfill your promises. Live with kindness. And I saw my parents do it day after day. They would get up, be impeccably dressed for their classes, do their classes, help people, come back with a smile on their face. And to me, this is the best thing they have taught me that I'd like to share with all of you. You know, at some point of time when you start working, you'll realize that it's not about the jazziness of the title or the work. It's about getting things done. My first job as Wipro was not to write code or fix a great technology. My first job at Wipro was to ship a small box from Bangalore to America. And I had to find a place to get it done, meet 25 people. But that's where you learn. And the whole idea was that my boss asked the next day, did you get it done? And my answer was yes. And from that day, my boss trusted me and my career took off. So when you are starting this journey and this discovery phase, remember that you have to start the work, but you also have to discover the whole aspect of professionalism and work ethic, which is get the work done. I'm going to now leave you with words from this beautiful poem called Ithaca, and then I will bid you goodbye with my 3 messages. So the first message I have is discover learning. The second message I have is discover yourself. And the third message I have is discover your work ethic. And here are the words from this famous poem, Ithaca. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Laestrygonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You will never find things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Laestrygonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. I wish you all a very meaningful life ahead. Thank you very much.